All right, so we're about to start Act 4. The sun has just hit through this window. I think I look like an angel now. Okay, have we decided who's who? Yeah, we did. Huh?
Was Daniel, Stella was Amberley, and I was Barney, I think.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
who was
Chido was Stella.
who was I?
Chido was Stella. I was
Lamprecht.
That's right. Amberley's
Lily was Barney.
Chido's Stella, and Gordon is Barney.
Okay.
I will set the scene. The light comes up on the kitchen area. So we're inside the house. Lamprecht is dancing by himself with a broomstick.
I'm having a great time here, Stella. I'm dancing a little waltz. I haven't lost my steps. Come on, Stella. Come dance with me, man. Where's the brandy, Stella? Searches the shelf above the stove. Finds the brandy, then sees the cake tin containing the letters. Puts the tin down on the table and opens it. Takes out the letter Stella wrote earlier.
Off stage. You find the brandy?
Sorry, what does off stage mean?
I'm not on stage.
Not on stage.
Good.
Like you can't see it.
Yeah, so you hear her from another part of the house, okay? She's not in the kitchen. Okay.
Puts the letter in his pocket and puts the cake tin back on the shelf. He pours himself a drink and has a sip. Picks up the broom and continues to dance. Remember how we used to go dancing in Mossel Bay on the point? Those summer evenings, that dress Aunt Libby gave you. And Frank on the piano. Man, could he play. Those fat little fingers of his worked the keys. At 12, I would burst with fireworks, and we all danced. Danced till we dropped. Barney appears behind him in the doorway, dressed in a tight-fitting suit with a half bottle of wine and flowers in his hand. Lamprecht stops dancing when he sees Barney. Barney, I didn't see you there.
Okay, stop there for a moment. So for the sake of the 10B class, we already spoke about this with the 10As, but Barney is described there as wearing a tight-fitting suit. Why? And I asked you guys, why do you think the suit is tight-fitting?
Because
He grew out of it.
Okay. Partly through his training and getting, packing on the weight for all the wrestling that he wants to do. Remember, he wants to be like who?
A wrestler.
Somebody called Van Diggelen or what? Anyway, I can't remember his name. You can go back and find it. But that's his hero. That's his mentor. And so he's working hard at getting to the right weight class so that he can also become famous. And so he hasn't bought a new suit to fit his new frame. Also, it might have been a suit that he had like when he was in his early 20s or, hadn't fully developed into an adult man yet. And so he's just wearing the same suit, and it's not fitting very well. Okay, so do you think Lamprecht feels just that little bit foolish or silly being caught dancing with a broom?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Have you found it yet, Jonas?
No.
Looking for that, guys.
Page.
It's in the front of the book, I remember.
There and there.
No.
Oh, I think it's actually coming up in this conversation. I did read ahead, and he mentions in this conversation they have now when he comes to visit Stella and Lamprecht, he mentions this Van Diggelen guy as well. So,
But didn't he, like when he got Barney in the choke, didn't he say something about it?
And you got Clykies in the shirt.
yeah.
Clykies,
Well, you can go and search for that. Let's continue. So Barney has just come in.
The door was open.
Puts the broom down. Come in, man.
I'm not disturbing.
Of course not. Come in.
Enters. I'm not too early, am I?
What are you so dressed up for?
I brought some wine.
I don't drink wine. Stella drinks wine. Sees the flowers. And the flowers?
They're for Miss Lamprecht. Mrs. Lamprecht.
That's awfully considerate of you, Barney. Throws the flowers on the table. Do you drink brandy?
Sometimes.
Pours
Okay.
Barney a drink.
Stop there for a sec. Do you think it's normal to say to someone that's awfully considerate and then throw the flowers on the table?
No.
So once again, the words and the actions don't match up. Okay. Continue.
Okay.
I said sometimes.
So Lamprecht.
Pours Barney. Sorry. 2 ships in the night.
To ships, they drink.
And to lighthouses that shine bright.
To lighthouses.
Sits at the table. Yeah, so?
Smiles, but he's uncomfortable. Nice kitchen.
How was your day at the Crow?
The usual routine. Keep them in line.
Sorry, what does ja swer mean, Amberley?
Should I just directly translate it? Or?
Well, it's obviously something South Africans would be familiar with, right? But
Yes.
yeah, it's one of those sayings like, yes, so what's going on? Okay.
Nan,
Yeah.
I found where Barney says who his hero is.
Okay. Which page is that?
Page 16, 3rd paragraph.
Tromp van Diggelen.
Oh.
Yeah. And we discussed that's probably a Dutch name.
Mm. Bless you.
Because as we all know, South Africa has connections with the Dutch from way back. Okay, thanks for that. And I think he talks about it again. He actually shows, yeah, you'll see. He shows them a picture of the sky. I just wanted to ask, why do you think Lamprecht says, I don't drink wine? I mean, we know that he drinks alcohol.
Like, it's not manly for a guy to drink wine. Like, it doesn't mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like
Like, it's
defines
not a
his
man
masculinity
thing.
if he drinks wine.
You're
If he
right.
drinks brandy.
Yeah, he only drinks the hard stuff, you know? And yeah, wine is for women, in his opinion. So he obviously has a little bit of masochistic attitude about what men are like and what women are like, which is quite typical of that time as well. Okay. Are the noises okay, or they're distracting to you in the background here?
Yeah, okay.
No. Now the dog starts. Okay, so they've toasted 2 lighthouses and 2 ships in the night, and then Lamprecht is trying to make pleasant conversation. He says, "How was your day at the kraal?" Barney, the usual routine. And then Lamprecht says,
Must be difficult to work with those lunatics.
We manage as best as we can. Some days it gets rough. Silence, then they drink. You know what? We found one of them dead the other morning. Found him under his bed. He swallowed some poison and choked on his own vomit. I see strange things up there at the kraal. I'll tell you. Strange bloody things. It's like another world in there.
Stella should hear this. She believes she can help them.
They're beyond anyone's help. I work with them all day and the things I've seen. Sometimes I think they're not human, you know, like they're sent from another species.
Really? Stella says we all descend from the apes. She read it to me in one of her books. Some guy called Darwin. Not your average wife, Stella.
Me? Descent from an ape? No, I don't like the idea.
can I just interrupt there for a moment? What does he mean, not your average wife, Stella?
She's different.
She's weird.
She reads.
Not weird, but like unique.
Does he mean that as a compliment?
No.
Not really.
50-50.
I think
Yeah.
he does. He's not entirely anti-Stella. You know, he has mixed up approaches to Stella. He loves her, and he wants her to be his. Okay, but he doesn't realize the impact his jealousy has on her. So, you know, sorry, we have another discussion happening here in the background. So you can tell that he still sees Stella as something he owns, you know? So it's like he's proud of the fact that he has such a special wife or such an unusual wife, but he doesn't really value her as a person in her own right. Okay. So yes, we turned the page and we're on page 32. If Barney can just repeat his thought about being descended.
I don't like the idea.
You know the story about Prospero?
Who?
Never mind. Fills Barney's glass. You want to sit?
Thanks.
You eaten? Stella made fed cook.
No thanks. I already had my supper.
I believe you're from Kimberley then.
Yes, my father was the district bailiff. Is that how you say that? Bailiff. I don't know.
Bailiff.
Bailiff in Kimberley. My one brother's with waterworks in Johannesburg, and my sister was with the postal services, but she left. Got married to a farmer. She's pregnant now. I'm with health services, of course.
Public services run in the family then.
What my mother always says.
You got a girl?
No, they drink in silence. I was in love once with my niece. She married someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that. Stella enters with the shell Pikes gave her. There you are. I was wondering what kept you.
I was fixing your socks and vest.
Thank you.
Gets up. Good evening, Mrs. Lamprecht.
Barney brought you some flowers. Stella nods and sits next to the stove. You want some wine? Barney brought you some wine. Barney pours her a glass of wine. He was just telling me about his family.
Offers her the wine, which she declines. We're all from Kimberley. Public services.
Are you sure you don't want fed cook?
I ate. Thanks.
Some more brandy?
A little. Thanks.
You dance, Barney.
A little.
Stella and I used to dance. Hey, Stella? Danced till we couldn't anymore. Mossel Bay in the old days, when we just got married. I was thinking I'd take her to the mainland sometime for a good old opskop. Stella now has the shell cupped into her ear.
Yeah, it's up.
Sorry for a sec. Anybody been to a good old opskop before?
No.
What would the literal translation of opskop be? Up kick. Okay, so kicking up your heels. All right. Similar English expression.
Oh,
You get it?
no.
Okay. To kick up your heels means to like dance and have a good time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So good old opskop is an Afrikaans word for a night on the town, a dance, or a night of dancing. Yeah. Okay. So Stella's kind of really not participating in this conversation very much. She's kind of in her own world, and in fact, I'm just going back to where Lamprecht says, "Not your average wife, Stella." Is Stella actually in the room when he says that?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
She's not.
No, she is.
Because Barney,
Really?
No, she isn't. Sorry.
because Barney just said hello to her.
She only enters the room later.
No.
And then she says that she was fixing vests and socks.
Yeah. Do you guys even know what vests are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But there was a time before they invented polar fleece and other wonderful fabrics that keep you warm. There was a time when everyone wore vests because it was just this nice, comfy, warm thing. And another reason why everyone wore vests was because it was considered proper. You don't wear a shirt on straight onto bare skin. It was too immodest, actually. You needed to have layers. Otherwise, yeah, it would be too easy.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Barney also is like, he doesn't want to talk much.
Yeah, he kind of like stopped being talkative when Stella entered the room.
But even before.
That's what I think.
Is he not that, like, he kind of sort of has feelings for Stella?
That's what I think.
I think Barney's in a situation where he would have feelings for any woman who is around. I don't think it's unique to Stella.
Hey,
Because I think, yeah, he's very much alone. He talks about, have they got to the point yet where he talks about, yeah, that's right, you got a girl, and then he says, I was in love once with my niece. She married someone else. So he has had a little bit of experience with love, but he does seem to be someone who hasn't had much success. Otherwise, he would probably already have a wife there living on the island with him. And so he's awkward around Stella, which can give the impression that he doesn't know how to talk to her. In fact, that might be why he came across earlier on he came across as a bit creepy, but it could also be that he just doesn't know how to talk, you know. He doesn't know how to keep certain thoughts to himself. Like he thinks she looks pretty, so he just says, you look pretty today. But maybe he should have thought better of that because he doesn't know her very well yet. So to just tell a strange woman that you look pretty can come across as a little too strong or inappropriate.
Doesn't Lamprecht also notice it? Like the way he like threw like the flowers that he brought for Stella.
Again, it was
he's also getting jealous.
Yes, absolutely. But I think I don't know if it's still the custom today. I think it can be. It is a polite thing to do to bring some wine and some flowers for the host and hostess when you come and visit someone. So that wasn't inappropriate of him to bring flowers for Stella. He wanted to do the right thing. He doesn't often get invitations, you know, social invitations. So he wanted to do the right thing. But I think he realized very quickly that Lamprecht didn't immediately get angry with him and tell him he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have brought the flowers. But just the way he tosses them on the table gives the impression that anything could set Lamprecht off. But I think Lamprecht realizes that he's doing this for the reason of just trying to be courteous. But his jealousy still makes him act not as gracious in return in saying, thank you, oh, that's very kind of you. He didn't say anything like that. No, did he? He actually did. He said that's, sorry, I just want to find the line. That's awfully considerate of you. He's almost being sarcastic. Okay? So there's a lot of subtle undertones going on apart from what they actually say. You start getting a sense of the feelings, the undercurrents that are going on. And that's the power of, or at least that's the artistry that the playwright has. He has the ability to write dialogue and obviously give also the the stage direction on how they do things. The playwright has the ability to really paint a picture here where we hear the words, but we also get the feeling of what's going on. We get the tone. Okay. All right. So they're just busy. Oh, that's right. So, Chido, you were saying that you think that maybe Barney doesn't want to talk much. I think he started off the visit quite enthusiastic. He thought, hey, I've potentially got some new friends here. My social life has doubled in the last day. Or my social circle has doubled. But as he starts feeling the tension and the vibes in the house, he starts feeling a little awkward. So then he gets up and he says, I better get going, you know. Especially when he notices the contrast between Lamprecht being all, hey, we used to go dancing, and it was great, and he would talk to Stella, but Stella obviously is just sitting there with the shell. She's kind of ignoring her husband. So have you ever been in a room with two people who are not getting along? Especially when it's a couple.
Yes.
Most annoying thing ever.
And then you just want to kind of leave, right? You don't want to be there. Yeah. So then he gets up and he says, I better get going then. So Lamprecht says?
Oh, okay. You just got here. Have another brandy. Fills Barney's glass again. You can't leave now.
Sits. If you insist. Takes a newspaper clipping from his pocket. Have a look at this.
Studies the clipping. Who's that?
That is Tromp van Diggelen. He's a strongman. I've signed up for his strongman course. It's a wrestling course to build your body. I'm going to look like him when I'm done.
From Van Diggelen? Never heard of him.
He eats a dozen eggs for breakfast and two chickens for lunch. And for supper, he has a whole leg of lamb every day. That's not counting 4 loaves of bread and 8 liters of milk a day. And loads of garlic. The man swears by garlic. Look at him. Look how big he is. Turns to Stella. They say he can lift a horse off the ground, Mrs. Lamprecht.
Really? Fascinating.
You also eat lots of garlic, Bonnie. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Sorry.
That's fine. I was just thinking it's probably time to switch around again, but it seems like it's getting confusing for people to switch around. Okay, so Stella said really fascinating. And then Lamprecht being Amberley.
You also eat a lot of garlic, Barney.
Much as I can. It's strong stuff, but good for the blood.
Where do you get all this food?
I've set up a chicken pen on the grounds at the kraal, and I've got my own cow for milk. Now I just have to wait for Trump's course to arrive in the post. Cost me £4. Once I finish the course, I'm leaving this place. I'll become a professional wrestler. They say there's big money in wrestling for Americans, in the Americas.
America? That's too hell and gone.
Yeah.
Can't stay on the island forever. The world is changing out there. They say there's another war coming. There's already talk of moving all of us to the mainland. You want to believe this place is free from what happens on the mainland, but it isn't. Sooner or later, it affects us. I'm planning ahead, you know.
Things change all the time, don't they?
Yes, that's why I'm changing my name to something more flamboyant when I get to America. Brika Barney, or Barney Brika, turns to Stella. Which one do you prefer, Mrs. Lamprecht?
Rika Barney.
Rika Barney falls to the floor and mimes a wrestling position. Rika Barney got Tromp van Diggelen pinned to the mat, rolls over on his back. 2, 3. Rika Barney stays lying down. I like it.
You get a lot of post, Barney.
No. Do you get a lot of post?
No.
My mother writes me every now and then, mostly about the family. Last month she wrote me about the rain. They got some rain. Sits up. Strange thing about it, they prayed for rain for months, and then when they stopped praying, it rained. And then it wouldn't stop raining. Everything got washed away. Gets up from the floor. God moves in mysterious ways, doesn't he?
I'm going to bed. Good night, Barney.
Good night, Mrs. Lamprecht.
Okay, we're going to switch over now from there. Daniel, you can be Lamprecht, please. And, and Ryan's going to be Barney. Okay, so Stella just all of a sudden, obviously she's really not participating in this conversation much. She's got a lot going on in her head. She's thinking, she's probably feeling quite, she's really struggling to keep her feelings about Barney inside. She's probably feeling quite angry with him because she knows that he's the one who's destroying Plyke's boat. She knows how cruel he is to Plyke's. So to have him as a guest in her house is a little difficult. And then, of course, the tension between her and Lamprecht is there as well. So, yeah, she decides she's going to bed. So now it's just Lamprecht and Barney. Okay, so Daniel, you are Lamprecht. You can read there. Follows her to the door, and then Barney is Ryan.
Lamprecht. That's what I want to talk to you about. Fetches his pipe. Stella's got into her mind she can help that lunatic.
Sorry,
Old Plyke's.
Barney had already said, he said goodnight to Mrs. Lamprecht, and then he said, what's with the shell she's holding to her head? There at the bottom of page 34.
Oh.
Okay. So that's what Lamprecht is referring to when he said, that's what I want to talk to you about. Okay, so Barney asked, what's with the shell she's holding to her head?
That's what I want to talk to you about. Fetches his pipe. Stella's got it into her mind she can help that lunatic.
Old Plyke's. What do you want to help him with?
Lights his pipe. I don't know, but I don't like it.
He's harmless, I told her.
I caught him dancing with her.
Dancing? Really?
If I were you, I'd keep him locked up.
He's not going anywhere, except if he tries to swim, and that he won't do. He hates the water. Have to force him to take a bath.
He shouldn't be walking out the island like that.
Walking around.
He shouldn't be walking around the island like that.
Dancing, you say?
But poetry to her as well.
Poetry?
I don't want trouble.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
So can you do it? Keep him locked up?
Won't be easy.
You're in charge of him, aren't you?
I guess I am.
Well then, can you do it?
I can make him disappear if you like.
How would you do that?
People drown, people disappear. This island has its own secrets. Has its secrets.
Just keep him out of sight for a while, till it all blows over.
I'll see what I can do. They drink in silence. Must be lonely.
Yeah, before we go on to the part of the conversation, so what are they actually talking about there when Lamprecht is kind of, without saying it directly, is kind of hinting that Barney should do something to Plyke's, at least keep him locked up, if not something else, so that he won't have interaction with Stella anymore. Which is in direct contrast to what he just said there on the top, at the top of page 35. This is now the second time that he's mentioned that Stella wants to help people like Plyke's. But that doesn't really matter to him. He doesn't, once again, he doesn't respect Stella enough. What I want is in contrast with what she wants. He's like, that doesn't matter. I'll just get what I want. So I don't want Plyke's around. Okay. So, and the insinuation there at the end of the page where Barney says, I can make him disappear if you like. The insinuation is when he says, people drown, people disappear. The insinuation is that he could actually make him drown, but he doesn't, without saying it directly. Okay. That brings out the point of, I don't know if you've heard of denotation and connotation. You've all heard of connotation, right? Denotation is the actual literal words that you say. If Barney said, I can drown him, for you. That's denotation. The dictionary meaning of the word drown means to make someone die by putting them underwater. But he says some other words, but it has the connotation of I can drown him if you want to. Do you understand? I can make him disappear, or people disappear. The secrets, the island has its secrets. So there's connotations to those words that are kind of more important to grasp than the actual words, the denotation. Okay, so that's just a little bit of figures of speech for you. Not figures of speech, not exactly grammar, but it's just a little bit of, you'll come across those terms, especially in literature and poetry. Okay, so turning over the page, and Barney says, I'll see what I can do. Then he says to Lamprecht, must be lonely. And Lamprecht says,
What?
Being a lighthouse keeper.
You don't choose it. It chooses you.
What do you do up there by yourself?
I think, wait, keep it burning. Someone must do it. Takes the letter from his pocket. Read this. I'm not much of a reader.
Studies the letter. Whose letter is it?
Don't know.
Fancy handwriting.
Read it.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm not much of a reader myself.
Anxiously. But you can read, can't you?
Of course, I got my grades.
Then read it, damn it.
Clear as a throat. It's addressed to my love.
Read it.
My love, I met another of the poor souls on this desolate island. Looks up. There's no date on the letter.
Carry on.
Not a leper this time, but one of the black lunatics, as they refer to them. His name is Plikes. Why? I'm not sure. Stops. This letter is about old Plikes.
Read.
I do not believe my meeting with him was just chance. He spoke such beautiful words. His voice filled me with sadness, and his yearning to escape touched me deeply. I miss you in the same way, my love. My love. I miss your warmth. My body aches. Stop. It gets quite personal now. Lamprecht grabs the letter from him. Whose letter is it?
I don't know, but I'll find out.
It's a love letter for sure. I've had a letter like that. I've never had a letter like that.
Folds the letter and sticks it in his pocket. How much do you weigh, Barney?
Don't know.
Put your arm up. Grabs hold of Barney's hand. Push. Come on, man. Push, man. Barney attempts to push, but Lamprecht forces his arm onto the table and grabs Barney by the neck. Don't look at my wife the way you do. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Releases his grip on Barney.
Shocked. I didn't mean to intrude. If I had come at the wrong time, you should have said so. You invited me over. I was just being friendly. Long silence then. Lamprecht takes out his knife and cuts tobacco with it. Barney sips his brandy, uneasy with the presence of the knife.
Paint. Forgive me. I love her. I love her more than anything, and it breaks my heart every time I see her just talk to another man. What would you do?
I never had a girl. I guess love is a difficult business. Takes a coin from his pocket. Hey, look at this. Flips the coin at Lamprecht, who studies it. Guess who makes them? Old Plikes. He collects pieces of iron from the driftwood and hammers them into these coins. Look at the image on it. It's of himself. Each coin tells a story about his life on the island. That's why his name is Plikes. Takes the coin back from Lamprecht and does a disappearing trick with the coin. Open your hand. The coin is revealed in Lamprecht's hand. How's that? Laughs. Why don't you meet me down in the cove later?
What do you have in mind? I don't want to upset Stella.
Okay.
Just meet me by the boat. Oh.
No, sorry, continue.
Oh. Just meet me by the boat. We'll scare him a little. You can't go around dancing with other men's wives, especially not yours. Nip it in the bud now. Stop it before it gets out of hand, you know? Lifts his glass to Lamprecht. To ships in the night and lighthouses that shine bright. Lamprecht lifts his glass to Barney's. There is the sound of strong northwesterly wind blowing across the island as another cold front approaches. The stage darkens.
All right. So I wanted to stop you there, but then I saw there was only one paragraph of the act. So I wanted to talk about the coins, where they say that's why his name is Plaatjes, because I guess those are like little plates, you know, that he makes out of metal. And then he actually puts an image on it. And so he's making all these coins. It's like little artworks that he's making of himself